On December 14, 2025, Hollywood fell into stunned silence. Rob Reiner, the legendary director and his wife of more than 3 decades, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found dead in their Brentwood home in Los Angeles. The discovery, made by family members, shocked the world. Both had been brutally murdered in what authorities quickly classified as a homicide. The tragedy revealed the harsh reality that even lives devoted to storytelling and the warmth of cinema could not escape unimaginable violence. Fans and colleagues alike were left grappling with the sudden loss of 2 beloved figures. Discovery and initial response. At approximately 3:30 p.m., the Los Angeles Fire Department received a call for medical assistance. Upon arrival, first responders found Rob Reiner, 78, and Michelle Singer Reiner, deceased. Sunlight filtered through the tree-lined streets, and the quiet neighborhood of Brentwood seemed untouched, almost serene. Nothing initially signaled the horror that had occurred inside. The couple's home, a private sanctuary from Hollywood's glare, showed no signs of forced entry or struggle. Windows were intact, and there was no immediate evidence of intrusion. The initial impression was of an ordinary afternoon that had abruptly turned into tragedy. Police investigation begins. The Los Angeles Police Department took over the scene and began investigating the circumstances surrounding the deaths. Both victims had sustained fatal stab wounds, making it clear that this was not an accident. Investigators turned their focus inward, toward family members, as no signs of external intrusion were evident. The case was later assigned to the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and classified as an apparent homicide, though no definitive conclusions had yet been reached. At a press briefing, authorities provided few details, stating only that the investigation was ongoing. The lack of immediate answers only heightened the sense of dread surrounding the tragedy. Family response and public silence. In the wake of the deaths, the Reiner family issued a brief statement expressing profound sadness. They asked for privacy and refrained from providing details or commentary. Rob Reiner, a man who had spent decades engaging with the public, rarely sought silence for himself. Yet now the family requested it during this devastating time. The world watched in quiet mourning, reflecting on Reiner's immense contributions to film and culture. While Hollywood often reacts with spectacle, this tragedy demanded reflection and restraint, highlighting the human cost behind a life spent in the spotlight. Rob Reiner's legacy. Rob Reiner was a storyteller whose work transcended awards or box office numbers. From Stand By Me to The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally and A Few Good Men, his films captured the human experience with warmth, humor, and emotional honesty. Audiences remembered his work not for spectacle, but for how these stories mirrored their own lives. Reiner's craft was in the quiet details, the moments of truth between characters, and the subtle direction that allowed performances to breathe naturally. His death reminded the world of the deep emotional connections he forged through cinema. Tributes from leaders and peers. In the immediate aftermath, tributes poured in from around the world. Former President Barack Obama remembered Reiner as a storyteller who helped America reflect on itself through deeply human stories rather than slogans. Politicians such as Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi praised him for his courage and civic-minded perspective. Within the filmmaking community, colleagues spoke of his generosity and mentorship. Aaron Sorkin recalled Reiner's guidance on A Few Good Men. and actors like Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan emphasized the safety and trust he created on set. These testimonials captured the essence of a man whose influence extended far beyond filmmaking. A voice in political discourse. Later in life, Rob Reiner's voice became associated with political discourse, particularly after the election of Donald Trump in 2016. He emerged as a vocal and consistent critic within Hollywood, unafraid to speak his mind. While this stance sometimes divided audiences, it underscored his belief in civic responsibility. Importantly, he did not allow his political views to redefine his cinematic legacy. His films remained stories of human connection, while his public voice addressed contemporary societal issues. This duality highlighted his integrity. He could be politically outspoken without compromising the universal appeal of his art. Personal loss and resilience. Rob Reiner endured personal struggles quietly. The death of his father, Carl Reiner, in 2020, left him feeling orphaned despite being in his 70s. Carl had been his anchor, guiding and shielding him throughout his life. Rob's later years were marked by this sense of solitary responsibility, navigating fame, family, and societal expectations. He also carried the private burden of his son Nick's struggles with addiction, a smoldering family tragedy that weighed heavily on him. These experiences shaped the man behind the camera, a man who understood both triumph and suffering intimately. The shadow of family tragedy. In a cruel twist, Nick Reiner, Rob's son, became a person of interest in the investigation following the deaths of Rob and Michelle. This revelation added layers of complexity and heartbreak to the tragedy, highlighting the fragile and sometimes painful intersections of family loyalty, love, and accountability. While details remained under investigation, the mere possibility that such a connection existed deepened the public's sense of unease. The story, already steeped in sorrow, became a stark reminder that the most profound tragedies can occur not in the streets of Hollywood, but within the walls of a home. The human story. Behind the legend, Rob Reiner's story is not solely one of fame or cinematic achievement. It is a deeply human narrative about family, perseverance, and the quiet endurance of personal struggles. His films depicted imperfect families and flawed relationships because he had lived with these complexities himself. In life and art, he conveyed authenticity, empathy, and the messy reality of human existence. The loss of Rob and Michelle Reiner leaves a void not just in Hollywood, but in the hearts of those who valued sincerity and compassion in storytelling. Legacy beyond the silver screen. Even as political discourse complicated perceptions of Reiner later in life, his cinematic legacy remained untarnished. His works continue to resonate with audiences because they captured universal truths: love, conflict, and connection. Reiner's genius lay in creating spaces where stories could unfold naturally, allowing audiences to see themselves in the characters. The sudden ending of his life reminds us that brilliance and vulnerability coexist, and that even those who shape collective memory are not immune to life's cruelties. His films endure as both art and testament to a life deeply observed and thoughtfully lived. A silent farewell. Rob Reiner did not leave as a symbol, he left as a human being. His passing alongside his wife's forces us to confront mortality, family, and the fragility of life. There are no neat conclusions, no cinematic closure, only the raw reality of loss. Yet in this silence, the richness of his life and work remains evident. He taught generations of filmmakers and audiences the power of authentic storytelling, showing that even amidst shadows, love, connection, and artistry can endure. His death may leave questions unanswered, but it solidifies his enduring place in the hearts of those who knew him and admired his work. Enduring impact. Rob Reiner's life reminds us that legacy is measured not only by accolades or fame, but by the subtle and lasting effects one leaves on others. Through both his films and his actions, he inspired, mentored, and moved people. His story is a cautionary yet inspiring tale of resilience, integrity, and the human capacity to confront adversity with dignity. While his absence is profoundly felt, the echoes of his life continue to guide filmmakers, actors, and audiences alike, preserving the warmth, insight, and humanity he brought to every story he told.